Hi guys, this is Jason with Banna Properties. As a land investor, a question that I get asked often is how do you find the acreage for a piece of land? Maybe it's your house and your yard and you'd like to know without looking up the county maps or plats. Maybe it's just something you're looking at and the person has told you it's a certain acreage and you'd like to confirm that. Whatever the reason might be, maybe even because the county restrictions, you want to know the minimum acreage for having livestock. You want to know if you have enough land. Whatever the reason is, there's a quick way to do this, but the title of this video is a bit deceptive. It is not easy to do it on Google Maps. So you can do it on Google Maps. You can measure and you can draw out lines for the sides of the property, but then you have to calculate the square footage of the property and convert that to acreage. That requires some math. I don't know about you, but I was never a math whiz. So I'm going to show you two simple ways that you can do this very quickly without having to do any math whatsoever. The first is using Google Earth. Google Earth you have to download onto your computer. There is a mobile version, but it doesn't have as many features, so you wouldn't be able to do this on the mobile version. But you can download it to your desktop for free. It's a great tool to have. One of the neat things is with Google Earth is that you can actually see the contours, so you can kind of see the hills and the topography of the land you're looking at. But let's just say in this place and somewhere in the United States, we want to measure the acreage of this person's house and yard. So we just go here to the polygon button right here on the menu. It's right to the right of the thumbtack button. And it says add polygon. We click on that. Little box comes up. Just leave that dialog box there. Don't close it out. And then I click at my point of beginning where I want to start. And then you do need to know roughly the area or the property lines. I can see what looks like a fence here. So I'm assuming that's a property line. I'm going to put it about here between these houses. And it simply draws what's called a polygon, which basically looks like a square. And then what we're going to do here in the dialog box is click on measurements. And you can choose how these read out. It could be in hectares if you're in somewhere in Europe or in another country, square feet, square yards, square miles, or acres. In this case, it's acres. And as you can see right here, it's 0.57 acres. So this is just over a half an acre lot. So sometimes you hear people saying, I have a half acre lot or I have an acre lot. But let's try this with another piece of property. So what do you do if you want something that's curved? Like you can see this field right here that we're looking at, it has some curves. We just do the same thing, but we just have to click out a lot more lines along the edges. So every time I click a line closer together, if the curve is sharper, I could just go ahead and follow that and it will draw the polygon all the way around with me, which is really cool because properties are not always cookie cutter rectangles or squares. In many cases, there are all different shapes and sizes of properties in the US. So that's not perfect. You could take your time and do it just a little more careful than I did there. But let's just go ahead and see that, yes, this field is 3.62 acres. So it's a little over 3.5 acres in this field. And it gives you a great idea of what it looks like. Maybe you want to know the size of a lake. You could actually measure the size of a lake and figure out how many acres your pond or lake is using this method. So that's the first method, and that requires a download of Google Earth. But there's another method that's free and you can do online very quickly with no downloading of any software whatsoever. And it's findlotsize.com. Findlotsize.com. Just type it in, pull it up, and this is very simple. You can choose distance or area. So if you just want to draw a line and see the distance, you can use that. And here I am at just some random location in the US. Looks to be a school or a church or some commercial building here. And there's a residential neighborhood here to the side, and there's this nice looking field here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the rectangle of this field. What I do is I simply hold down Shift, and then I find the corner of the field and I put my first marker there, and I can just keep Shift held down on my keyboard and I put the next marker and I go ahead and follow the edges of the field. And then I scroll down and it says area, and here it is. It shows you in kilometers and meters and feet and all kinds of things. But there it is, AC for acres, 7.9859. So it's pretty precise. Now, who knows if I have my dots in the exact location of the borders of the field. You might want to zoom in a little closer and do that a little more carefully. And keep in mind that this is a satellite measurement, so it's not the same as a survey that would be done on the ground. So your variation, your measurements may vary a little bit from what the deed of your property actually says, but it gives you a general idea. This is almost just about 8 acres in this field. So that's what an 8-acre property looks like. Okay, so very simple way that you can measure the acreage of your property. No math is required. It's completely done for you, either through Google Earth or through findlotsize.com. I hope this video has been a help to you, and I hope you continue to connect with us and all of our land videos here on Check Lands. If you have a property that you'd like to sell, feel free to fill out the form on our site, and we will give you a cash offer for that property within 24 hours. Thank you, and God bless.